No was a typo. Oh, you did a typo. Okay, I thought I did a typo. Audra, you're the one who caught me last time when I didn't title one of my scopes. So I was like, uh-oh, what did I do this time? Good morning, everybody. We're here. It's our author interview time. Hopefully you guys had a great Easter weekend. Hi, Jess. We're going to chit-chat for just a second. I want to give everybody a chance to come on in because I know there was a lot of people looking forward to this interview, like me. So we'll talk about how to get the, oh, thanks, Audra, for inviting. We want to fill up this room. We want to get her as many people as we can in here, get the word out, especially for those of you guys who are reading her book and having a good time with it. Hello, Draco Angelica. I'm not sure I've met you before, so you'll have to say hi to me. Hi, Jess. Thanks for inviting. So you're April. Okay. April. Oh, she knows people know you, April. So it's just me. Hi, Debbie Lee. Love her books. Yes, we do. Audra invited you. What's up? We're getting ready to do an author interview with Katherine Reay, and I'm just waiting for the group to get in here and for all of you guys to help me share out and make sure we fill up the room. So hopefully you guys all had a happy Easter weekend. I ended up hosting a bunch of people, but I have to admit I took the easy way, and we just did Mexican food potluck. With 40 people, that was the easy way. But I have to admit that some of the fun of my weekend was not doing work and vegging out, and I went on a Downton Abbey binge. But I'm only playing with you because we want to make sure that we mix the pleasure with the work, right? All of you writers in the house. Thank you for sharing. That's what we want. I'm waiting for people to catch on in. April, I got to see your name again. You have to make a comment because I want to see the handle on your name again. Hello, LaDawn. See, here you come. Here's more folks. We're getting started here. I want to make sure there's Ava. Oh, awesome, Ava. You are my helper. You are my right-hand man in here. Wilson Hills Works. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Yay, we're doing it. Filling up the house for author Katherine Reay. In just a minute, I'm going to turn it around and she will introduce herself and her books, and then we will get started. And I can't wait for you guys to know some of the stuff that I know about her. Okay, you're at your doctor's appointment. We'll see what you can get, Brandy. That's always the way it works. We'll deal with that. So, as we get started, I will lay the groundwork for how you guys can be a part of a giveaway, because Katherine, in her generosity, is giving us not one, not two, but 3 books to give away. And since I know a whole bunch of you guys have read her Dear Mr. Knightley, you might be wanting to get your hands on Liz and Jane or the Bronte plot. So, here's how we were going to do the giveaway, just to get you guys all kicked off and started. Oh, I better introduce myself because there is new people in the room. My name's Kara Grandel, and I am a novelist in process. I have an agent, but I'm not published yet. And I am on my publication journey. And in the process, I felt like the Lord told me to bring my encouragement closer. Hi, Savannah. And in order to do that, I found Periscope and spent many a lonely night on Periscope with creepy people that I didn't know from all over the world. Okay, so I'm not so creepy because I met a handful of you guys in there, so you guys count. And in the process, I figured out that I wanted to create an environment where you can be created as, you can be encouraged as writers, that we can draft together and do that. So yeah, creepy peeps, they're in here. Yes, they are. So here is my name and my website. And if you like this interview and you want more times and dates, there you go. I'm supposed to be sending out the emails ahead of time and let you guys know that, but I haven't done it yet, have I, guys? You guys are going to have to keep me accountable. And if you are a creative, a photographer, a poet, if you are a painter, songwriter, we have all types, including writers, mostly writers, and you want to have some folks that are in the same season of life as you, and you want to hear how they are staying motivated, encouraged, and there's my mom, you guys. See her? Terry Howe. There's my mom. It's always good to have your mom in on your scopes. And she just did one today. She did a teaching scope on your personal devotion life, if you guys are interested. So, Mom, put in another comment or two so they can find you if they want to. Hi, Cheryl. I've been watching some of your stuff. Good to see you. So if you are a creative type and you want to network with people, I'm assuming your where was for my mom. Terry Howe is my mom, so if you want to follow her, she's got some scope up going on, so you can taste what she's doing. There she is, Terry, right there. So this is a group right here, Author for the Author. This is on Facebook, and if you've come find us here, there's 117 of us, and we are all doing our own work in progress, but we're hanging out with each other for the ups and the downs and the little milestones along the way. So feel free to take a screenshot of this and come find us later. So invites all. There you go. Thanks, Ava. Awesome, awesome. Go, baby. That's right. Mom says go, baby. We're in the win. Okay, so now I want to tell you how we're going to do the giveaways. 3 of them. So you can enter multiple times. So let me tell you, the whole point for me is to get as much word about Katherine out as we can. So listen closely, because I made an adjustment from last time. Because I really liked how the last one works, but we got one more step to do. If you have already shared out to your followers, you click that little person sideways. Hi, Vonnie, my Alaska friend. Share out to followers so we can fill up this scope. And then also, I will have a picture on Instagram that goes live. And if you guys get on Instagram, which I haven't put it up there yet. Oh, yeah, I did. I did it last night. So if you guys take the picture I just did and share it to 2 people. So when you share it, you just tag their name on it, and it will go into their feed. So we want to get her word out about Dear Mr. Knightley and the Bronte plot for her. This is how we serve her back. And each time you have shared it with those 2 people, then a name will go into the basket. So you can share multiple times and get multiple names into the basket. Does that make sense? So, and I get to draw 3 winners, and I will be doing that after the show. And you're going to hear me say all this again because we're going to have new people come in if you share. And feel free to not share to all of your followers if you have 2 or 3 of them that you know would like this more than anything. But I want the combination, the share of the scope and the share on Instagram. Does that make sense? Does everybody catch what I'm after? And so here we go, writer's encouragement. And if you're a reader, this should be fun for you too. Yes, you can do it 5 times. Yes, you do it 5 different times. That's right. Do the people you share with? Nope. Only if they want to get on the Instagram and share it out, then they can jump in. That's how we'll do. Hi, I've got a bunch of new faces coming in, so you guys must be doing what I've asked. Don't go out and don't leave this until we get done. But that's the way. And I'll be back later today, so don't leave Periscope to go to your Instagram part. But that's how you're going to enter. And I'm not in a hurry, so we don't have to just ditch on this. Okay, so I do these author interviews selfishly. I do them as a writer so that I can hear the machinations behind the scenes of these, get inside people's heads and see how they facilitate the gift of God in their life as a writer. And actually, I kind of like it when the odder they are, the better. Do you hear that? The odder they are, the better, the more unique. Because it makes me feel like I'm in good company. But I have been told that the people who are on here that are just readers are finding it very interesting too. They like to see the real, authentic, behind-the-scenes sample of what the writer is that they're reading. And then they usually hear about a couple of books that they haven't heard about before. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Katherine Reay. And the way this is going to work is we're going to interview her, but because it's Periscope, it's interactive. So as she begins to talk, if you have questions, feel free to text them into the Periscope, and I will gather your questions and feed them to her as they're appropriate for the interview. So no questions right now as far as, we haven't done anything yet, but as it goes on, as she tells her story, that's how it works. We get to ask her questions, and you get to have your own questions answered. So here you are. I'm turning you on, Katherine. Here we go. Okay. You are on. You are live and cute and adorable.
I liked the comment about the odder the better.
Yes, the odder the better. Yes, you're in. So, there you go.
It is very nice to be here today.
Yes.
Did you want me to start with telling you about what I write?
Yes, go ahead. Tell them about introduce your books and say hello, and then we'll get on to your story in just a minute. And they're all hearting you away and telling you they're glad to meet you. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm the writer behind Dear Mr. Knightley, which came out in 2013. And the writer behind Lizzie and Jane. And I should actually tell you a little bit if you've never read them. Dear Mr. Knightley is a story about a young woman who grows up in the Chicago foster care system, and her self-defense mechanism is to hide behind literary characters, and she has to lay those characters down to find her own voice and to find love and sort of wholeness. Lizzie and Jane, I call it my love story between sisters, and it's about two estranged sisters. One is a chef, and one is going through breast cancer chemotherapy. And rather than being a story about cancer, etc., it's really a story about love and them finding each other. And they find each other through literature and food. Lizzie cooks for her sister, and food is an incredible connection. And so it's sort of like a feast for the senses. And then my third book, which just came out, is the Bronte plot. And I call it my redemption journey. It's two women, one 25 and one 85, who need to make changes in their lives. And they make a sort of internal journey, but then an external journey through England. And it's very fun. I enjoy that one. It's more Bronte-esque, whereas I will admit my first two books hit upon Jane Austen a little bit more. Makes allusions to those literatures, even though they're very contemporary stories. So there you go. That's what I write.
All right. And so you're still on camera, and I'm just going to facilitate. So we don't want to waste too much more time with her. We want to dig into what she has to say. You guys hear my voice all the time. They want you to repeat. Hold up the third book again. And hold.
Third book.
Here you go, Wendy. Go ahead and get a screenshot. Bronte plot right there. And that's the one that's coming to me. I haven't read that one yet. And I will advocate the sister one with the cancer is really not about the cancer and actually needed that. And there's such a resolution in it. So you guys will love it. So I would like you, Katherine, to talk to us, the writers. Yes, they're all standalone books. You can read them out of order, April. They don't tie to each other at all. And her books in the future will always be that way. That's how she writes. So, but let's hear her story. Let's hear how she came in and into writing as a journey for herself, how she figured it out.
Well, I started writing actually after an injury in 2009. I honestly, if I hadn't been injured, I don't know that I would have turned to writing, in the sense that I had a full schedule, part-time job, 3 kids, just life. And when I was injured, everything sort of was taken away or put on hold for about 6 months. And I read about 70 books during that time. And Sam Moore, who is the heroine in Dear Mr. Knightley, sort of came fully formed. And as I kept reading more books, I found a place for her, a story for her. But what I found was, at first, I was in so much pain that I didn't read new books. I read books that I was comfortable with. So I read the entire world of Jane Austen first and foremost. And that's where the idea came from, Sam hiding behind literature, hiding behind characters, because those were safe places. So it took about 1.5 years to write that book. And if I'm going to tell the whole journey, I'll say, during that time, my sister and I met at a writer's conference. I had not really dug into writing Dear Mr. Knightley, but she and I had another story that we wanted to pitch. So because we lived so far apart, we decided to meet sort of in the middle at a writer's conference, and we pitched our story. But I had a few minutes left, and I said, oh, by the way, I have another story. And that's where I told a publisher about Dear Mr. Knightley. So I went back and I finished the book, and then I tried to find an agent for it. And I got 38 rejection letters. It's a nice little stack, and probably more who didn't even reject me, just never applied. So I kind of thought Dear Mr. Knightley was dead. But then I wrote to that publisher whom I, talked to for just a couple minutes. And she wrote back that she wanted to buy the book. But I didn't have an agent. And that worried me because the same morning, the morning the contract arrived in my inbox, it was 40 pages long. And the language was, I'd never seen that kind of language before. So 40 pages, but at that same moment, a newsletter arrived from a writer's group I was part of. And the cover article was basically why you need an agent. And my picture was in that, the center picture from that writer's conference. So that was a message to me that I needed an agent. So rather than go back to the 38 who'd rejected me, I went to my bookshelves and I pulled out 10 books, and one agency's name came up 3 times. And so I went on their website and I saw a picture, and really God said, that's your agent. So I didn't read another word. I called up the agent and I left a 3-minute frenetic message, much like I'm talking now. When I get nervous, So anyway, it was a disaster of a message. But he called me back, and we had a disastrous half-an-hour phone call. He said, give me your elevator pitch. And I said, what's an elevator pitch? And he said, tell me your story in 3 minutes. And I said, oh, it's kind of complex. Can I have 10? So at the end, he said, I can't agree to work with you, but I will do you a favor. I will read the contract, I will read the manuscript, and I will give you my best advice. And I thought, really, that was the best I was going to get. And that was a Thursday. And he said, I will call you on Monday. And on Monday, I didn't get a call. But on Tuesday, I got an email that said, don't sign the contract. I'll call Thursday. And so I am wired to believe, when I tell that story, people say, oh, weren't you so excited? Well, I'm not wired that way. I was wired to believe, oh no, something's so horrid that he has to digest it for 2 more days before calling me. But anyway, so he calls on Thursday, and his first words were, I want to work with you. So my point in that story is, I broke every rule. But although we followed the rules and we stay persistent, extraordinary things can happen, and to never give up hope that those things will happen. So anyway, 2 weeks after that, during the 2 weeks, he said, can you get a proposal ready and get to this writers' conference? And it's on the 22nd. And I thought he said October 22nd, but he said September. So I had 2 weeks to write a 40-page pitch proposal, met him in the lobby of a hotel at a writers' conference, and sold Dear Mr. Knightley, along with other stories. So it was extraordinary. So that's Dear Mr. Knightley's sort of journey to publication, which is odd and extraordinary, but wonderful.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions to help you, because you had said some things before. Did you see yourself as a writer before you were injured? And how did you end up going to a conference with your sister if you had no books written? How did that come about? So 2 questions.
Okay, those are really good questions, because I did not see myself as a writer. I wanted to be a writer, but writing for me was an indulgence. I already had a part-time job. I already had 3 kids and responsibilities, and that felt like I was being spoiled. It was like going to a spa, or not that that's being spoiled. That's lovely. But anyway, I did not give myself legitimacy, which I think is wrong. I think you are a writer when you write. And I think that's so important that we kind of claim that. Because really, that's what writing is. The act of writing, we are writers. And if God puts that desire in our hearts, and it stays there and it grows, then I don't think we should diminish it. So anyway, okay, so that's that. And then to go to a writers' conference. Honestly, I didn't know anything about the world of writing, much less the craft of writing. So I think my sister actually suggested it. But we went, and I went as sort of a silent spectator. I had nothing to contribute and just eyes wide open. But it was amazing. It was amazing because what you find is 99.9% of people are in the same place, and it's welcoming, and you learn so much, and you become just energized by the creativity around you and the acceptance around you, and you find your people. It's a wonderful thing to do. So I will say, if you have the ability to get to a writer's conference and you are at the beginning of your journey, it is so worth your effort, and it really will enrich sort of the experience of writing. There you go.
Okay, so Jessica wants to know if your sister is still writing.
Okay, my sister is not. The book was very quickly, our joint idea very quickly became a book that I was to write. But my sister now is a book buyer for a bookstore, which is a lot of fun. And she helps me on my website. She's more tech savvy than I am. So she is involved in the world of books, but she is not writing books.
Very neat.
She's still in there.
So you already mentioned that it took you about a year to write Dear Mr. Knightley, 18 months kind of. Does it still take you that long to write a book?
It does not. At the moment, I am on contract for a book that releases once a year. In fact, since Dear Mr. Knightley, they have all released in November of the subsequent year, and A Portrait of Emily Price will come out next November. So by the time I wrap up the edits, sort of that big macro where you're really digging into the story, that phase of the book, I have about 7 months to write the next book. Now, it is percolating long before that, but I really do kind of lay down a book in 7 to 9 months now. And I don't know if that will change. Part of me wants to write some big epic grand journey. Don't know if that's in me, but I think it would take longer than 7 to 9 months to do if I did. So, but that's what I do.
Okay, Cheryl just asked if you are still working your other job and how you transitioned out if you're not.
You know, I'm not. I'm very blessed right now not to be. Since writing Dear Mr. Knightley, let's see, it's been 5 years. And in those 5 years, I have moved twice from Austin, Texas to Seattle, Washington to now Chicago. And I have 3 teenagers. So I feel so blessed right now to not have that on my plate, because I feel like I've been sort of settling children and making sure they are well. And that has been just a really, really nice thing for me to be able to do them and this right now. Don't know that it will always be that way.
Right. Okay. I was really fascinated with how you came up with your ideas for your next one. So go ahead and tell us how the Lord gives you your seed ideas and how it works for you.
Okay. I, first and foremost, am not someone who has ideas in notebooks. And I really wish I did, because when one idea ends, I'm sort of in this panic about where is the next one. I get my ideas through questions. For instance, Dear Mr. Knightley came from the idea of how does a young woman learn forgiveness and trust when she has been hit so hard repeatedly? Lizzie and Jane actually came from the idea of the 4 loves by C.S. Lewis. And the 4 loves are storge, which is affection, and agape, which is God love, and philia, which is sibling love, and eros, romantic love. So the question for me became, what if I took all 4 loves away from a woman? How do I put them back, and what would that look like? So that was Lizzie and Jane. And then the Bronte plot really came of a question of how do we make our choices? And what kind of crucible do we need to be put through to make new choices? And what would that look like? So they're all questions for me. My next book, actually, that will come out in this year, November, A Portrait of Emily Price. And I actually have the cover because it just came out, and that makes me very happy. Look, can you see that?
Yeah, hold it back. Just back it up because you got a reflection on it right there. Portrait of Emily Price.
I don't know if I still have the reflection on it.
No, anyway. You're good. I can see it. Okay, hold it up there again. Hold it up there because I'm going to tell him. Okay, so Portrait of Emily Price. Okay, so here's the thing. So for those of you who are familiar with my thing, one of the things that we like to do is help our authors. And so she is a self-professed introvert who becomes an extrovert when she talks about books and writing. So this is her. I'll ask that, Ava. I got that. She will love to interact with you if you hop on her author page on Facebook and you shoot out questions to her. And she will also interact with you if you participate with her on Goodreads. So if you're interested in following what's going on with her. And I was baiting her into actually starting a launch team. She doesn't have a launch team per se. So if you guys get on Goodreads or on her author page and you hint that you would like to get a pre-copy and you would be willing to trade reviews or blog interviews or whatever, then that is how we can help her. And it's going to be under her name, Katherine Reay, on all of those sites. So she's pretty easy to find. Yes, she does. Okay, so one of the questions that came, Katherine, was whether or not you studied Shakespeare.
I do. Portrait of Emily Price has a little Shakespeare in it. That is true. And the Bronte plot has a tiny bit of Russian literature, and I'm getting a little more into Dostoevsky lately. But it is true that my sort of stalwarts were the Brontes and Austen and Dickens. But I am expanding my reading horizons. And I like to actually reference literature because I think it forms a common ground. It's a common language that we speak. And it's really fun to reference literature, which has a little bit more of a timeless. But if you read my books, you'll see that, I am quoting The Princess Bride. And I am throwing out, the latest movies here and there in offhanded ways. Because I really believe engaging in all of that. We then have touch points. Oh, I can relate to that. Oh, I remember that. And that sort of involves us in a story. So, yes, Shakespeare is great.
Okay, I'm turning you guys around. Hold on. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to turn you around. There we go. Okay, so I want to, we're going to ask her a few more questions. They love your voice. We'll go back to her, I promise. But I wanted to point out a few things that she said for the sake of the Writers Encouragement Show. She went to Writers Conference and she said the main reason was for the acceptance, the level of creativity and growth, and also finding your people, the people who think like you. So yes, find your conference. Now, if you hang out with me on here, I'm going to talk about a few. You're going to actually witness me go to one at the end of the summer. So if you're chicken liver, like what we talk about, then we will share this journey together. And I will say this, I go to Writers Conference, I get the environment that she's talking about, and I'm a huge advocate of conferences myself. But I will say there is a precious reflection of that same environment happening inside our author Facebook group. Now there's 117 of us and everybody's in a different season of life. Some people can go gangbusters and other people are taking care of family members, health-wise and all this. So, but if you want to find a company of people that are on a creative journey with you and can learn alongside of you, this is the place for you, okay? And I also wanted to point out what she said about legitimizing yourself as a writer. The first time she said it, when she was interviewing with me, she described it as a feeling of indulgence, that she was doing it like it was indulgence, like if she sat down to write, she should be doing something as a mother or something to take care of her house or something else in a greater way, because it was a lesser thing to do the writing. And she had that epiphany moment before the Lord, and actually I had to have that same exact one. It had to count. It had to count, and it actually had to matter and have value. And it's quite a powerful thing when the Lord gives that to you, when you find that in yourself, where it counts, where it finds that. So we want to walk away with that today. So this interview is about Katherine, but wherever you are in your creative journey, that thing that's inside of you, that's a gift from the Lord, that is a matter of obedience for you, it actually counts. It comes to this place of counting. So she did have rejections. She glosses over that, but I'm sure there's a lot of time involved in racking up 38 rejections. But I still think... April, you made me laugh when you said that she said you had ovaries of steel for cold calling an agent like that. And, yeah, I thought that was a funny way to say it. So, I want to see. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to turn it back around to you. And I would like you to go ahead and hold up your new book cover again and tell us again what the question is behind that book. Because you said each book had a question.
Okay, there is a lot of reflection. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can see that.
I can. You're good.
Okay, that is a portrait of Emily Price. And the question behind this actually was finding joy. Now, I will say that I deal with a lot of issues in my books sort of in secular terms. And the sort of faith element is there, but it's sublimated to the story. I do that on purpose. I do that that on purpose because I believe, do you want me to put it down?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay. I'm focused in on you now. You're on your face. You can put it down. Okay. You're good.
Good enough. Because I believe that no matter your belief system, we are all asking the same questions. Who am I? Where do I belong? And we all struggle with the same issues. Trust issues, insecurity, looking for unconditional love, validation. So all of those things, I think, play out on multiple levels. And so in my books, I try to play those out on multiple levels. So there's a story going on, but then there's also a meta theme going on. And hopefully it all sneaks in to you one way or another, sideways. I like thinking in sideways, really. I think that's what fiction does beautifully. We let down our defenses to let in a good story, and the story comes first.
Yeah. Tell them what you told me about the nonfiction part of your interests at first. Do you remember what you said?
I thought I'd only write nonfiction. I wanted to be a professor. And so I studied nonfiction, and I published a couple articles in nonfiction. But then when I was injured, I was reading so much fiction, and I sort of then understood the true power of fiction, or became entranced by it. And so now I can't imagine writing anything but fiction. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge advocate of it. I will write articles now for publications really talking about fiction and the power of it. Or, I wrote an article on fairy tales and adore fairy tales, actually. So, but I believe in fiction. I believe in fiction because you can tell truth in such a way that people can feel it and they can take part in it. Right. And I think that's extraordinary.
Okay, so here is something I'm going to ask you to help me with because this isn't something I deal with. I am an obvious extreme extrovert, but you are an introvert, self-professed. Would you please talk to our Writer's Encouragement group about approaching writing and the publication journey and the social media end of it as an introvert?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, number one, the writing journey. Before my agent read Dear Mr. Knightley, the agent I landed with, he was just about the first because I didn't let that puppy go. And in fact, all the agents who refused me, not a single one ever requested the manuscript. So it really was a very internal journey, and I'm very internal. I mean, if I could shut down social media, you probably would never hear from me or see me, except for the fact I find I love one-on-one interaction. Kara was right. If you are on my Goodreads and you send me a comment or you send me a comment on Facebook, I reply. I actually love that. So it's an interesting relationship with social media because I approach it so personally and yet it is so broad. I think we introverts make our private lives much more public because we just can't help ourselves. We seem to want to relate on a very personal level. But that said, you do have to put yourself out there, and you have to crack open those stories a little earlier. Like right now, when I write, I have some friends who I'll let in on the very initial process. Obviously, my editor gets it fairly early. My agent gets it fairly early. So it has changed the way I view these stories and the way I view my job, because it can't be held so tight in my little introvert world. Anyway, so there you go.
It is. There you go. Okay, I'm turning it around on me. Okay, I also have to tell you one of the things that I really have valued by Katherine Reay, and I got this from her books, not just from her as an interview person. When you go to conferences, when you read interviews, articles that talk about writing, even sometimes it's a good thing. This is a good thing. They will constantly tell you to press back on time, that everybody needs this time to be a creative, right? And they'll always say, get up early and cut out your entertainment and your TV and your extra stuff. Hi, how are you? So with that said, you cannot read a Katherine Reay book and not know that she is reading books and watching TVs and watching Princess Bride and Downton Abbey and reading all kinds of Jane Austen and everything else. And so all I want to say is before I got done with that book, I was like, Oh yeah, room for entertainment inside the writer's journey. And it was actually very freeing for me because you can do this writing journey the way that you were designed. And there's such a distinct difference. I can't even compare myself with Katherine, and I'm grateful not to have to, because there's no professor in here. There's I could make fun of myself in a million ways, and I'll restrain. But the idea of writing nonfiction to me is painful. So it's all kinds, all types. And that is the underlying message that I throw out on Writer's Encouragement Show all the time. And that is, you get to be you. You are the best thing that comes to the situation that you're bringing. You are. Hi, Dean. And we need you to be you. We need you to do your thing. So it can't be compared. And, you know, even in the Bible, it says that there's nothing new under the sun. So if you're worried about your work being a copycat or an imitation of somebody else because you have listened to someone else do their thing or whatever, it's still not transferable. You can't be them. You have to be you. So that's the new spin. When they talk about finding your voice and all that, it is about finding how you would express life. When she's talking about those big questions, the love question and the inadequacy or feeling valued and all those things that she named way cooler than I did, you need to know that how you filter life and how you filter it in fiction or nonfiction, on your blog, in your songs, poems, through your art, whatever way it is, that is the cool part about this whole thing, that we get to keep moving forward. Okay, so let me tell you, hi Amy, let me tell you how we're wrapping up the interview, and I'm going to turn it around to her in just a second to say goodbye, but I want to make sure you guys all hear how you can get in on the giveaway. So she's giving us away 3 books, and what I need you to do is find the picture of the interview on my Instagram, Kara Grandel, and share it with 2 of your friends. And just to get the word out, this is a compliment to Katherine as a writer, and we want to get the word out about Dear Mr. Knightley and the Bronte plot and all of that. And when you do that, each time you share it with 2 people, I will put your name in a hat, and we will draw it out. Maybe we'll use Amy's hat from last night, Amy. The great big Easter hat. She was using to cover her hideous home hair dye job. Bigger story. We need to hear it. Yeah. So get in on this, and I'm going to turn it back around, and I want you to say goodbye. I do want to ask her one more question. Inside the Instagram, when you make a comment, you can go into my Instagram and make a comment, and inside the comment you do the little @ and then you put your friend's name, their Instagram handle, and we'll just spread the word out about her book. That's what we want to do. So I'm going to turn it around here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so remember what she said about Goodreads and her author page, but here's the thing. Everybody knows, if they've hung out with me for any length of time, that the reviews are a huge deal for your book. So, and hold up the Bronte plot for me. So, and recap, tell them again what this one's about.
This is a story of 2 women. Lucy is 25 years old, and Helen is 85 years old. And there's a little romance in there with Helen's grandson, James. But Lucy has a secret, and when that secret comes out, something in her life has to change. And she and Helen go on a journey to England, where they both lay down secrets and find, both of their lives are going this way, and they both change them to kind of go this way. And so it really is, a journey of redemption, a journey of friendship, a journey of a lot of literature, and just becoming a sort of a, I don't even know, it's a journey story. I like this one. Okay, well, how did you ever live in London? That's the question I did live in London. I lived in London for a couple years, and then we moved to Ireland. So I lived south of Dublin also for a couple years in a tiny town called Enniskerry. And my 3rd child was born in Ireland. So yes, and I've lived in, as an adult, I've lived in Austin, Texas. I've lived in Seattle, Washington. I now live outside of Chicago. So I've moved a lot. And my stories all take place, actually, in places I've lived. except for this next one, I made up a town in Italy. Next one takes place in Italy. And although I've been to Italy several times, the town I wanted it based on, I needed to make some changes within it. In fact, I needed to take it out of Umbria and put it in Tuscany. So I made up a town so I could put it in Tuscany. So
yeah, made up towns. That's my neck of the woods, right? Yeah. Okay, so the reason I had her show that story is because I wanted you to hear again what it's about. But it's her newest release. Now, she has the one coming out in November. That's not here yet. But if you get your hands on any of her books, or particularly that one, you can give back to her and be a blessing to her if you will take the time to write write a review on either Goodreads or Amazon. Amazon's actually the big one because they have the biggest search engine to help people find new people, new writers. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. You don't have to be an amazing writer to do it. Write her 1 or 2 sentences, tell her your favorite part, and move on. So, hi, Edgar.
And they mean a lot to writers. They really do. Books are still sold by word of mouth, and it's very powerful. So we are so grateful for that interaction and the time and grace that people give us by not only reading our books, but then reviewing them and then shouting them out. It's a huge gift that readers give writers, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's what we want to serve her, and we'll do the giveaway. Okay, let me turn her back around here. I will turn this interview into blog, and inside the blog I will do an affiliate link. I haven't got it posted yet because I wanted to put this interview in it, but for those of you who are new to me, this is where you'll find it. And if you like this kind of interview where you can hear the nuts and bolts behind, I'm pretty typically into the Christian fiction market. I might get into the Christian nonfiction market, but that's how we'll do it. If you want to find more, hear more of these kind of interviews, this is how you'll do it. You'll find me, follow me here. And there is a place in there where the other writers' encouragement shows are stockpiled, and also other author interviews are stockpiled. So, yes, what she said about the word of mouth, you guys have heard me say that a time or two, right? One more time, if you want to get in on the drawing she's going to let me pick 3 winners of her books, and you will get to choose which one, Dear Mr. Knightley, The Bronte Plot, or Lizzie and Jane, and I will be in touch with you on Instagram. So you go to my Instagram account, Kara Grandel, it's the same as my name, Kara Grandel, and then in the comments under my interview thing that I just had on there, the thing that says Katherine Reay's name on it, tag 2 of your friends. And if you do it more than one time, you will get your name put in the pot more than one time, and we'll pull out 3 winners. All right, and I'll be doing that later today, and you'll be able to watch for the winners on Periscope here later today. So we're about ready to wrap up. I want to give you guys a chance to say thank you to her. So I'm turning it around, and I will read you the comments that they say. It'll take them a second. Nice. It'll take them a second to type them in, so we got to give them a second. So they are hearting like crazy. Let me see if I can get you to come in. You're a little out of focus there. Wrap up. Yes. So those of you guys that came in late, if you're interested in this, you'll want to. So inspiring. Thank you. That's what Wilson says, and we'll give them a second here. They're typing. I can tell they're typing because all the hearts dry up. Thank you, Catherine. You are wonderful, full of knowledge. I so appreciate it. That's from Jessica. And the hearts are taking off like crazy. And like I said, give them a second here because I always rush it, but they got to have a chance to type. Lots of people popping in. Thank you. God bless you. That's from Ava. And some of these people are new to me, and some of them are regulars. But either way, so we are saying thank you to you. The hearts, you should see the hearts. It's just exploding hearts everywhere. But I know they're going to pop up here in the comments. Yeah, Edgar, you're new to an author interview. So, hello. Thank you so much. I've been debating whether or not to find an agent or not. Loved your insight. That's from Wellness Wendy. Yes, pretty much if you go to a conference, they will tell you not to surf that water alone. There's dangerous sharks in the water, Wendy. So, but Can't wait to get to know your writing. Vonnie, guess what? Katherine will be at the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference, so we will get to see her there. Thank you. We'll watch the replay. Yay. Good, good, good. So Vonnie is a faithful, and she's going to be at the conference too, so that's why I said it to her. Cheryl said thank you. Her phone's about to die, so we're going to lose her. But so when we go to the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference, I will be able to do a quick Periscope and give you guys a hello, a real life hello from her too. Ava, thank you for that. If you, I will be making a blog post on my website that has it on it, but that'll be later today. If you want to watch the replay here, that's fine. I'm also on catch.me/Kara Grandall, if anybody's interested. Yes, so here is the place where if you guys want to clap your hands for her, you tap hearts like crazy. Hearts for Katherine. So she's going to watch this replay and she's going to see all of these hearts take off. And thank you for her time.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a rainbow. They make them in all different colors. I wish you could see it. Maybe one of you guys can take a screenshot with all those hearts floating up and then tag me in it so I can tag her. Or tag her in it and put it on her Facebook author page. Take a screenshot. There. Oh, I saw one go. So somebody's going to do that. So they can show you with the hearts floating up the screen how cool that is. So I want to pray a blessing over our author and over you guys, and then we'll say goodbye. I want to pray over her because she's still writing. Are you on deadline right now? What's your end deadline? Where are you at, Katherine?
Well, I am on deadline. In fact, I'll reach behind you, and I'll show you what arrived yesterday. This is Emily Price.
Woo!
And it is due. This is the final proof. The arcs have already been made, but that's the final proof. So that's due in a couple weeks. And I'm beginning the next book, which has an October deadline. And so I'm just beginning that. So, yes, I'm under deadline.
What does arcs mean?
Arcs are advanced reader copies. Here, I have them. Hang on. I'm rolling away. This is an advanced reader copy of the Bronte plot. And you can see up here, it says advanced reader copy. These are not for sale. And they're unproofed, meaning you will find some periods out of place, or you will find words that are misspelled. Not many, but you'll find the occasional one. And these are sent out to news services, to bloggers, to like Publishers Weekly, other places who will do advanced reviews. But they're never for sale. And then the final copy obviously comes out a few weeks before release date.
Right.
So, there you go. So the Emily Price already has an arc, but this is what you do after the arc, and it goes into it makes the final book.
Does it take? Is it obviously at that point it's almost perfect? So does it take you very long to go through that?
These are no, it doesn't take long actually at all. Because there may be periods, there may be, a word that I want to change, but it is not the time for me to change a lot of words. If I want to change a word, I have to really have a reason for changing it.
Okay.
But semicolons, periods, spaces, that's where those things get checked at this point.
So when they send you that, does someone else have some that they've caught that they're pointing your attention to?
Yes. By this point, when you get this, the book has been through what's called a macro edit, which are your big ideas. Lots of change can happen at that level. Then it goes through maybe 2 or 3 rounds of line edits where you're changing maybe paragraphs or flow of sentences, that kind of thing. Then it goes through one slightly more refined edit before the arc. After the arc is made, then you've got maybe 3 copy editors looking at it. That is where every word is looked at, every period, every comma. And then it's perfectly clean. But by the time you get to the arc, you really have a very clean manuscript. Because I have not only looked at it every single time, but everyone, even the macro editor who's going through it, is fixing a period or fixing a comma that they note is wrong. So by the time you get to here, you're really quite clean.
Yay!
But you're not completely clean.
Okay, so I'm going to pray over you, and the camera's still on you, just so you know. I'm going to leave the camera on you. But everybody, let's pray over her. Let's pray over her journey that she's going to take with her next book. And she gave me a sneak hint at her topic, which I'm not allowed to leak to you. But since she dangled the secret with me for a couple weeks now, I'm going to torture you. But it is going to be a journey for her. It's going to take her in places. And that's actually part of the process, too, as a writer, is the journey you go on as an individual. So Lord, I just lift up the next book, the one that's coming, that's going to be due out in November, and we just ask for your hand of grace on all the inner workings of the ideas, the place where the creativeness comes from, that's holding hands with you and your spirit, and we ask, Lord, that she would get your message out, that the name of Jesus would be magnified, and that the seeds that she is supposed to experience through the whole thing would come to her, and they would come to her solid enough for her to chew them up and eat them and turn them into a book in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're saying goodbye to you now. So I'm going to, everybody, this is us waving goodbye. I always have the hardest time getting off because I have a lot of fun. And you guys will see me on here later. I will do I'll do a wrap up and maybe a normal writer's encouragement show later today too. So we'll see you guys later. Amen. Yes, they're all saying thank you and amen and hearting it up. So see you later. I'm getting off for real. Okay, bye-bye.